you should follow the dollar. Now, at least if the money's not missing. So I want to bring it back home to you, and I want to talk to those two brothers from the college. And one of the things they said was, you know, enough of this talking, enough of this meetings, he made a pact that he wasn't going to be coming to conferences and things like that. Well, how many of you live in a neighborhood where there is a public elementary school? Raise your hand. Okay, so what are you doing to take back your school? I guarantee you, if you want to fight imperialism, take back your public school. I don't mean go in there like the kid in Connecticut with the gun. Just go in there as a volunteer and an observer because you pay taxes. Just go in there as a member of the community when they have their PTA meetings and speak truth to power. How many of you have volunteered on career day to go in there and talk a little bit of enlightenment? Educate them as to what Columbus Day is really all about. Do you know there are social studies teachers who have been removed to the rubber room, which is another name for solitary confinement in the public school system, because they taught that Columbus was a genocidist? Where were you? Were you there to defend them? Okay? You have all kinds of political prisoners. You can't get to the point of legal LeBron because you don't educate your kids. You don't educate the parents of your kids. In your public school, it is your public school. African ex-slave gave you that in the Black Congress for the Reconstruction period. Yeah, we are responsible for the public school system. And now you are giving it back. What do I mean by that? Well, cats don't educate mice. And Obama is not one of us because he's at the head of the parade to dismantle your public schools. If you get online and Google charter schools, you will find the majority of the schools that are being closed all over America are schools in our community. That public school that you think is public today won't be public next year. One of the realities of public space is you can walk into there and you can demand some taxpayer accountability. You can't do that with a charter school. You can't even have a PTA with a charter school as quiet as it's kept. It's owned by the corporations. And your man, Obama, under Duncan, had taken the schools away. Bush, too. Bush started it with No Child Left Behind. So I'm not telling you to join Black is Back. I'm not telling you to join Impede. If you go out and try to take back your schools, you'll be running to us for assistance. My first PTA meeting, I had 200 parents who defended me because I asked for an audit of the school budget, and 2 days later they removed me for insubordination. That's how powerful the New York City Board of Education budget is. Take back your schools. And if the white left had supported the black left when we fought for community control in 1969, yeah, I went into the school and I took it back in 1969. Okay? Now I can't have all you think I am. All right? So if you take back the school, I'll be there next to you. You cannot convince your children that they are at war with them, even while they are shooting them. The only moment you can convince them is when they're in the moment of defying the police, such as what happened to Blackfish. Did you see the tapes? Did you notice them confronting? Where were we to educate them? Without education, they don't understand they have the right to self-defense. They only have the right to murder each other. This is our job. Thank you. Community control.
Thank you very much, Betty. One of the things that I'm going to propose to the O'Malley tour, he's going to be at the Harlem Book Fair on the 20th, is a tour of the real Harlem, a tour of the corporatization of 125th Street. Harlem is the Silicon Valley of charter schools. They have even built a charter school, $100 million, on the grounds of public housing here in Harlem, 2 blocks from 125th Street. And that's what we need to. Now, I see some folks are leaving, so we're going to ask Lisa, before you folks leave, we need to take up a little collection to pay the church for the rental of the space. And while that is being done, we have with us Carl Dix. Now, Carl Dix and Cornel West started the Stop, Stop, and Frisk national campaign. And one of the things that he's going to talk about, what is almost forgotten, is the Trayvon Martin case and what is going to happen in that upcoming court case of George Zimmerman. And also the torture that goes on, not in Guantanamo Bay, torture and even murder, but right here in the U.S. prison. Carl Dix.
Okay, I want to thank Nellie for that introduction. Like she says, name is Carl Dix, down with the Revolutionary Communist Party, and I'm also the co-founder of the Stop Mass Incarceration Network, which initiated the campaign around Stop and Frisk. Let me just get right to it. Mass incarceration and all of its consequences. The 2.3 million people in prison. The more than 5 million people formally incarcerated, people who have already served their sentences but are met with open and naked discrimination in society. The racial profiling that has millions of our youth on a trajectory of going in and out of prison. Then there are the tens of millions of loved ones of all of these people. You put all this together and you got tens of millions of people who are living lives enmeshed in the web of the criminal injustice system in this country. Mass incarceration amounts to a slow genocide that is grinding away, breaking the bodies and crushing the spirits of countless millions of people. It is also the concentration of the oppression that Black and Latino people face in this society. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to take revolution, nothing less, to get rid of the scourge of mass incarceration and everything else foul that this system brings down on people here and around the world. The wars for empire, the degradation and violence directed at women. All of it. It's going to take revolution, nothing less, to deal with that. And right now, today, it is going to take much higher level of resistance, determined mass resistance to all of these horrors. And I'm going to focus in on the horror of what the criminal injustice system is doing to people.